John, never get a
Yeah, no, I'm Wait. Wait. Okay. Okay. Okay, okay. All right. All right.
There you go. Go. Yeah. Further. Further. Bye, bye, bye. So. Further. Further. Allah so, Allah ba ka ku Allah. Further. Take it. Come on.
So, you succeed to take it from the distance like this?
Yes.
I'm going to.
Martin Lee. Donc on veut pouvoir contrôler nous. Ah, vous contrôlez. Ils sont venus nous. Aïe, contrôlez. Ayo, file.
Only one. On chiffon. With them locking in you land. We don't with them. How we all go inside? We don't match it. You love me.
Basa Now listen carefully. Chinese are ruling the Chinese land. Japan is ruled by Japanese. England is governed by Englishmen. America is governed by Americans. So Africa must be ruled by Africans. I wanna know the land. We must rule from Cape to Cairo. We must rule our purpose land. I say, we want to know who owns the land. I want to know who owns the land. Asla, hey, Papasla, Papasla, Papasla. It must be free. Angola want to know who owns the land. Mozambique want to know who owns the land. Namibia want to know who owns the land. I say, someone want to know who owns the land. Zimbabwe want to know who owns the land. African freedom fighters want to know who owns the land. Purpose land. Now listen to the history. We've been here since creation. We've been here since creation. What else do I know? Since the time of sun and sun. Since the time of moon and stars. Since the time of air and sea. Since the time of men and things. We must rule from Cape to Cairo. Okay, now I want to talk to my people. Iradanila, oh, I will know. Yeah, Iradanila, oh, I will know. I feel it's all over Daniela. Now we are the crossroads. On the Femo, don't be like. I feel it's all over Daniela. I'm not famous, don't be like. Oh, Palim, may I get a baba? Yeah, oh, Palim, we just see a record. Oh, Palim, I see a record, yeah. Oh, me, oh, them not buggy say. Oh, friend, what them not buggy so.
Yes, so ladies and gentlemen, we will keep on asking the question. We want to know, Ambazonians want to know, who owns the land? Who owns the land? Of course, when we talk of land, we are referring to the Ambazonian territory from the Mongol to Inkambe. We keep on asking, we want to know, who owns the land? Good evening, fellow Ambazonians. For those of you joining from ground zero, ground one, Gabon. I spoke to some great Ambazonians from Gabon this morning, and I think their spirits were lifted up to know what lies ahead. I want to welcome all of you who are joining the broadcast. I can't forget all of you here in the diaspora and everywhere, even in Mexico. It's a privilege to have you here on ABC Amber Television by way of satellite, by way of the social media. Also, we're going to be having a very, very exciting broadcast tonight. And as usual, I would like you to go on and quickly hit your share button. Let's make it 700 So I can come to you with a very special guest that I have bringing to you from ground zero all the way from ground zero. So please, ladies and gentlemen, for those of you watching by means of Facebook, go ahead and hit that share button. And remember, I will be right back. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Again, please go ahead and hit your share button. Go ahead and hit your share button as I prepare this broadcast, as I bring to you this broadcast. I will take a short commercial break, for a very, very important call here. Please go ahead and hit your share button.
You need a financial instrument.
Please, I am sorry about that, ladies and gentlemen. My telephone, my microphone was switched off. Please go ahead and populate your platform. Go ahead, populate your platform, the social media platform, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, everywhere you are watching. ABC, please go ahead and hit the share button. Quickly give me 700 people, before I come to you with my guest, tonight. We're going to be talking about ceasefire, negotiations and reconstruction, the temperature on ground zero. That is the subject of my discussion today with my guest from ground zero. So please, ladies and gentlemen, go on and quickly hit your share button. We're getting close to 300 people right now. Please quickly hit your share button so that I can come to you with that information. In the meantime, I want to send a message to ground zero, especially FACO in particular. Again, we have learned of the efforts by the colonial divisional officers and the colonial mayors in FACO, their efforts to torpedo the ghost towns, the Monday ghost towns that we've had over the years since the beginning of this conflict. We are sending a warning to them that again, they are stepping into dangerous territory. They know what happened to Patrick Ekema when Patrick Ekema ventured into that territory trying to sabotage ghost towns and lockdowns. The colonial DOs and the mayors in Victoria, in Tico, in Boya, again, they have ventured into Ekema's territory, and I just hope that they will not regret what they are trying to do. Number one, forcing people to pay some taxes. Number two, shutting down their shops. And number three, trying to stop ghost towns. We are sending a very, very strong message to every one of these colonial illegal administrators in these towns and cities. Sirs, Patrick Ekema tried this before, it didn't work. If you continue in this exercise, it's a matter of time, we will stop you. Again, you continue this, it's a matter of time, and we will stop you. So please, we are appealing to all. In FACO, Mondays remain our natural, I'll call it now natural because it has become a tradition. So Mondays remain our traditional lockdown, ghost town, to send a message to French Cameroon and to the international community that we control, we have the final say upon what happens in our territory. So please, Mondays, we have the Ambazonia Restoration Forces out there in FACO monitoring every trader, monitoring every shop, be it in Tico, in Boya, in Moyoka, in Mutengene, all of these affected areas. Please, you will have to choose. You will have to choose who to respect, whose laws to obey, whether laws of a foreign country called La République du Cameroun or laws of the Federal Republic of Ambazonia, our own country. So every trader out there in FACO, please get the message. You either have to choose to obey Ambazonia or obey a foreign country in La République du Cameroun. You are banned from paying any taxes to that country. You've paid taxes for over the years. What have those taxes done to you? You don't have roads. You don't even have good sources of drinking water. I see the horrible, terrible source of drinking water that people are drinking in Boya, in Bamenda. It's horrible. It's horrible. And you are paying taxes on a monthly basis for 60 years to that country, and you have nothing to show for it. Please, we have abolished, this interim government has abolished the payment of any form of taxation to La République du Cameroun. And this doesn't only apply to the traders, it applies to every person doing business out there in Ambazonia. And you go there, you pay taxes. We understand that when they force you, when they come after you, you have no choice to. But under no circumstances should you be a free man or a free woman and think of paying taxes to La République du Cameroun. We have abolished that. Ambazonian citizens must pay taxes when things are all set, when this conflict is over, to the Ambazonian government. For now, you don't even have enough to feed your family. You don't have enough to take care of yourself. Talk less of thinking of going to La République du Cameroun to pay some taxes. Please stop that. All right? And again, the Ambazonian Restoration Forces, they are out in FACO and they are monitoring every shop that opens its doors on Monday because of the fear of illegal, unelected colonial mayors and divisional officers. Please save yourself. Better shut down your shop, shut down your business on Monday and avoid being marked out. All right. I hope you get these, you got this piece of information, ladies and gentlemen. The numbers on Facebook are not rising to my liking. They are not yet rising to my liking. We're just about hitting 500. There should be about 700 by now. I give you 2 more minutes to give me 700 people, at least on Facebook. All right, so please, I see the numbers jumping right now. Thank you. If you are just joining, go ahead and hit your share button. Hit your share button, ladies and gentlemen, so I can come to you with a guest and a proper presentation for today. All right, array, approved by the objective Ambazonians. I hope you are approving my message. Honor Abu, we own our land. Yes, ma'am. Wisdom Jim, approve, sir. Thank you. Mercy Enjoy, I see you. I see also Kumba LGA, Kumba Local Government Area. I hope Kumba Local Government Area is preparing for the war draft coming up the week after this, the weekend after this. Ladies and gentlemen, we have Sunday coming up, and we are drafting for the great county of Boyo, the county of the great son of Ambazonia, the late Augustine Ngomjua. We are drafting for Boyo this Sunday, and Tumfon Bo Herbert shall be joining me later in the program to talk about Boyo draft on Sunday. So again, Tumfon Bo Herbert is going to be here in the later part of the broadcast to talk about the draft and to talk about Boyo and Augustine Ngomjua. All right, so please go ahead and you hit that button. I see Julius Jan, Felicia for Ngashu Wetzekev. Those Russians in Ambazonia, can you hear their names? Bunch of people with Russian names. Okay, I see also Jiang Tano. Also Tinia Infon. Greetings, Secretary Chris. Watching from Ground Zero. Wonderful. May I know where you're watching from in Ground Zero, please? I hope you have electricity. All of you have electricity, because I learn every time ABC, particularly myself, coming up live, they shut down electricity on Ground Zero. But thanks for letting me know you are watching from Ground Zero. Look, those of you just joining, please go ahead and hit that share button. Go ahead and hit that share button. We're getting almost 600 now. Let's use the last 1 minute, ladies and gentlemen, to saturate this Facebook platform with at least 700 people. Again, I'm having a very exciting guest coming to you all the way from Ground Zero, and we are talking about ceasefire negotiations, reconstructions, and of course, vis-a-vis the temperature on Ground Zero. Now, before I get there, ladies and gentlemen, coming up to you a few minutes ago, I got sent some statement coming from the so-called elites. I just received a statement from the so-called elites of Libya, elites and the funds so-called from Libya. And the statement is essentially a threat to yours truly and other Ambazonians and Libyalemas in particular who are out there standing for a free and independent Ambazonia. And the statement is threatening yours truly. I haven't read, I read it in the rush. I have not gone to the details of it, but at least all I know is the statement is threatening yours truly and threatening other patriots hailing from the BLM who are standing for a free and independent Southern Cameroon. Now, why I will take time to read and digest that statement, I see a long list of so-called elite and funds or chiefs signing that document. That document will go down in history, ladies and gentlemen. The document will go down in history. When it is all said and done, when this struggle, when this revolution is all said and done, we will use documents like this one to know who was on the right side of history. But today, I like to assure the so-called elite that the era of elite is gone, sirs. The era of elite is gone. Not in Ambazonia, not in the Southern Cameroons, not even in, well, I don't know about La République du Cameroon, but I can assure you one thing. I can assure you of one thing, that the era of elite is gone. It's gone and it is done. Never again, never again. Because what is the need of elites? What is the need of elites who abandon their constituency, settle in the foreign country, because they are afraid to stand for what is right? They are afraid to stand for what is correct. Again, the era of elitism in Ambazonia is gone. If you are an elite we want to see you stand for your people. Because that is what true elites do. They stand for their people, they stand for justice, they stand for what is right. They don't stand for their bellies. They don't stand for their villages. They don't stand for tribalism. They stand for justice. And let me assure you, until justice is done to Ambazonia, you think you can intimidate some of us, you make the gravest mistake in your political careers. Intelligent people will come from behind and say, listen, we are together, we are fighting this thing together, but where we are, unfortunately, we can't exactly be vociferous and do what you want us to do, but remember, we are with you. No, these elites are so blindfolded, their slave status has so fooled them that they don't see ahead of the tunnel. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to assure you, the BLM remain a stronghold, and it will remain a stronghold insofar as this struggle is concerned. Nobody will go back to the BLM. I am here talking about when Minji, the capital, is concerned. Nobody will settle there until this war is over. If the elites are so brave, if they are so smart, if they are so powerful, I hope they go back and settle in their towns, in their villages. If the chiefs are so smart, if the chiefs and the funds are so powerful, I just wish they go back and settle back in their chiefdoms and take care of their homes. Who sent them out? Who drove them away? It wasn't Ambazonians or the Ambazonian fighters who sent them away. They all deserted. They are deserters. They are deserters. Nobody sent them away. And let me assure the dishonorable Paul Tasong. Paul Tasong is instigating this right up, ladies and gentlemen, because of a press statement that I put out the other day condemning a report on BBC. The report indicting some fighters in the BLM who abducted so-called 63 people, which is, the report is actually not accurate. How can a few boys abduct 60 people? At 3 a.m. at night, they say, the report says. What are 60 people doing out at 3 a.m. and in bars, according to the report? What would they be doing in the bar at 3 a.m. for? What would they be doing there in the time of war? What would they be doing there? However the case, whether the abductions were 50 or 20 or 60, the fact is that the young man who is perpetuating these abductions in BLM in that community in Bichati area, the young man is being sponsored, is in the payroll of Paul Tasson. That we have known for quite a while. If Mr. Tasson thinks that we are lying, let him remember the market that he is building in his own hometown of Mogbin. Who is guarding the bricklayers there? The same guys we are talking about who abducted the so-called whether 60 or 20 people. They are in the payroll of La République du Cameroon. Their ammunition is coming from La République du Cameroon. And so Mr. Paul Tasson and his cronies can write thousands of press statements. They will not by any means, by any way, deter us in this cause for a free and independent Ambazonia. We will keep on, ladies and gentlemen. We will keep on fighting this fight. There is no end inside until Boya is inside. There is no end to this until Boya is until we get to Boya, until our flag and anthem are raised and sung in Boya permanently. And let the chiefs of the BLM know, and every other chiefs, of course, in Ambazonia, because we know they all act like children from the same mother. They all act like children from the same mother. That's what they do. This war is not going anywhere until you all encourage your leader to come to the negotiation table, sirs. That is where we are heading to. Ladies and gentlemen, once more, thank you, and thank you for hitting your share button. We've gone above our numbers. I would like to officially come to the subject of the day. Ladies and gentlemen, we are talking about ceasefire, negotiations. Again, ceasefire, negotiations, and reconstruction. Ceasefire, negotiations, and reconstruction. We have heard the opinion of the diaspora as far as this subject is concerned. Today I have with me one of our guests from Ground Zero, whom you all know so well. We'd like to get his take on what the temperature on Ground Zero looks like when it comes to this subject of ceasefire, negotiations, and reconstruction. We want to know what Ground Zero thinks. We want to know whether Ground Zero is in support of people in chains or trying to negotiate a ceasefire and negotiations for people who are free. We want to know whether Ground Zero stands for reconstruction in the midst of genocide, in the midst of killings and raising down of towns and villages on a daily basis by terrorist soldiers from French Cameroon. We want to know whether Ground Zero has the stamina to withstand the aggression from French Cameroon throughout the rest of the time that we still have left in this war. And I am talking about the one and only Dr. John Ako. Dr. John, it's a privilege to have you, sir. Good evening.
Once more, the pressure is on again issues affecting Iran. Why not the sub-region, Africa, and the world at large?
Thank you. Thank you. I know it is quite late over there, but again, it's a privilege to have you, and we really love to get your take on what Ground Zero thing on the subject of ceasefire, negotiations, and reconstruction. Let us start with a ceasefire. Is Ground Zero ready to see any form of ceasefire that is not arrived at from the negotiation table? When I mean a negotiation table, I am referring to a table in which there are international mediators and guarantors. Is Ground Zero ready for that kind of ceasefire, sir?
When we talk of Ground Zero, I remember that you should equally understand that there is diversity of opinions. There's of opinion that, or when the Bilingualism Commission was created, the Disarmament Commission was equally created. And again, at the same when the Reconstruction Commission was created, not everybody has been for it. And we also understand that within the same battle, people even have engaged for 3 years now. I believe I will not include 2016 because it was disobedient, which turned out on the 22nd of September 2017 and the 1st of October. From you will equally understand in the same area we refer, even everybody as Ground Zero, there are diversity of opinions, and other for the fact that there is a need to reconstruct what they have destroyed, that we call them members and of that particular class. There are equally what we call the federalists, whom in many of their numbers equally have called for a sincere that we cannot come in time of war.
If I may stop you a little bit there, when you refer to them as calling for is sincere, I mean the word, my emphasis there is on the word sincere. When they say sincere ceasefire, what, according to you, do you understand to be sincere? Would sincere mean coming from anybody?
The sincerity in a ceasefire movement should not only a single individual. It's a respect of all the actors and the belligerents involved in this same struggle. And every time the need ceasefire again, one will not, and I insist that one will not forget of the role of the state and what we, the most belligerent with a highly sophisticated equipment and weapons, and that the same individual that made the decision to begin in the every other person was then, and when the military that would guard the nation against foreign enemies were declared to be used in an internal conflict, there is, I mean, on the part of the state, be as they have the power, the pen has taken a lot of times to call for what they call the Grand National Dialogue, which, in my opinion, was just a political instrument used to propagate science of the ruling party, and again to give the international again what we have criticized, that so ever called the Grand National Dialogue was just a phenomenon where the agenda was drafted by individual, and the discussions and whatever debates that were gone there taking place were highly decided. The various commissions created by a single body. We are from without this Grand National Dialogue. We are at a period where nothing has changed on the ground, but I believe very sincerely that people's opinion, believe that you are not the strongest political party. The MRSC party, at the same time the dialogue was held, many of its members, including the leader of that party, Moise Kamto, was in prison. Many that, in fact, the government knows that those who are creating problems in the Northwest and the Southwest, those in the grounds and the group, the separatist movement or the secessionist group, the need for a sincere dialogue, which is said to be inclusive, should therefore consider the forces that are not fair okay with the way in which things are being handled. And there should be any dialogue, whoever, wheresoever it is, should equally be. There is going to be a fair. Then there is what we call a mutual understanding of all the four stakeholders that presently are involved in the conflict ranging area of the Northwest.
You talked about quite a number of groups on ground zero, or ground zero being divided into different groups: the Federalists, the Unitarists, and of course the Restorationists. Who are the majority? Who are the majority on the ground? Do you think they are Federalists, Restorationists, or the Unitary State guys?
Yeah, I like you to see my statement. It is not like concept of majority be so subject, because there must be a value, tends to counting, kept giving you a mathematical expression of numbers that gives you an idea. If such cannot be proven, then all of us are based on ideas. And again, if we look at the other extent, is who accept the highest for the individual with one of the third force after the state. I believe very strongly and without any debate, without fear of honesty, that the restoration movement and the secessionists presently have the lion's share in decision making on what the states, because it is sincere that the Federalist doesn't have arms, the Unionists, or in some way or other, might have been controlling, opposing by the state and other state agencies in one way or the other, but are considered as allied to the government. So, in a brief detail, somewhere when you look at the Unionists, the Restorationists, or the Separatists, these are the two belligerent and the two opposing views to havoc and instinct, which is a Reconstruction, a questionable perspective within the particular milieu.
Now you keep on using the word separatists. Why don't you think they are restorationists?
Yeah, you remember within the context of academic research and honesty and intellectual understanding, called the restoration was more of the forces fighting on the ground, but within of what we have now, of it from the state-owned of the government, it being sung as secessionist or separatist movement. The word restorationist is always used to refer to the military of the secessionist group. It is like we call the military of the state and the restoration forces of the separatists.
Well, that is I guess that is your understanding from the academic point of view. Practically, we consider ourselves, and I think every Ambazonian who is pro-independence consider him or herself to be a restorationist, because essentially that is what we are doing. But let me put this question this way: between the Federalists and the Unitary guys and the Restorationists, if a referendum were to be put on table to say, hey, choose between an indivisible Cameroon and the independence of the Southern Cameroons, where do you think the majority vote would go to?
This is what I just said. Whatever estimate made when you don't own an agency that gives you a multitude of numbers. Remember, the lot of statistics you people are in the diaspora. Within the United States, there are such centers in charge with statistics of whatever opinion the presidential election coming up maybe in October in the United States. Others have given you real statistics. I am a reasonable figure. I believe the reason why we are here, and if we need to know, it is that an opinion can only be collected with precise data. Without data, where I stand for, with free forces to be considered in terms of any negotiation or in terms of any talk. I insist that without a precise opinion on numbers and data, as an individual, an academic need to verify data before the public. I should be given a chance, and that is why I've always been insisting from where you are. The dissenting opinion in the program of calling some minority and others majority will just cast doubt into the of whosoever may be perpetrating or promoting one idea against another. There is a need for unity of opinion, a common ground, and a possible where we can exercise and make this opinion sincere, that one and everybody will know this individual control the opinion pool in the domain. We cannot doubt military forces presently on the ground belongs to the rest of forces, which you may prefer me to use, and the civil opinion, which everybody might be living to wait or to witness in case of any election, which you people, including you, have been promoting of a sincere referendum. It is only after such statistics, except we have another with precise data, then we can confirm that one or the other owns the large majority opinion. But for now, I said, no matter how small, which we may think as a subjective, because cannot be taken on, then everyone will be considered in case of whatsoever ruling that will be made. We need to count on all, and I cannot sincerely confirm to you who is who, but I will tell you that in terms of the restoration is still one of the highest and the strongest imposing force within the two regions of the Northwest and the Southwest.
Thank you. I'm sorry, the connection quality is not so good. The audio is breaking a lot, and I'm just struggling here to get to understand exactly what you are saying, but I'm getting it slowly. Now, let us talk about the ceasefire particular. First, I like your take. I like to get your take because I know you are one of the opinion leaders out there on the ground. What is your take on prisoners, detainees, and I'm not using this in a pejorative way. I mean, that is what the Republic has made them to be. Of course, we totally condemn their being in incarceration because we know they were abducted. But the question is, you teach law, as I understand, the question is, how is it possible for a government to abduct people, sentence them or give them life sentences because of their fight for their own country, and then that government wants to negotiate, or let me say talk to them on resolving the conflict? They choose who to talk to, who to get a ceasefire with. As a legal mind, do you think those detainees and prisoners should even be discussing about a ceasefire to this conflict when they really don't have the powers and the leverage to do so?
You see, that is where, if I might have been influenced by a lot of other opinions, including your outing, I saw the outing of Ceasefire Yoktabe and the others at the Kondengi maximum prison. It gave me an idea that there is no problem. One, the majority for they are out of prison, which liberty of negotiations to remain a basic human right. Prisoners, remember, have the right, basic human dignity while in prison. And with my modest opinion, if the negotiations are based on their liberation and on the conditions under which they were arrested or condemned, completely very right for them to be. In another opinion, they might equally be considered as a preliminary step for any other negotiation. I mean, we need a preliminary negotiation for the instruments of the institution of the state to gather data that may meet them for any future talks. It is within the circle that they point out those who may be involved in any negotiation. I mean, we call it a preliminary talk. In many situations in the world, it has always indicated that many governments always try to talk with those prisoners who have been arrested, understand the basis of who they can talk to before getting out into any negotiation. You remember strongly again that if we need to talk, we must somewhere. And the sincerity is that when you look at the 4 points set by Sisiko, or proposed by Sisiko Ayoktabe and his team, not any way far from going of the prison first before any session, which means the lion's share or call for ceasefire remains mute. I mean, within a ceasefire atmosphere, the prison, particularly now, doesn't have done for any ceasefire because they have been restricted human dignity. They cannot talk and do not converse on the ground. The government is aware. So, which means within the forces of the state, we don't know what they do, and that the government of Cameroon, well, that the opinion of the is being controlled by other forces you can call the government abroad and shun the scarf and whatever. The government is who gives logistics, who gives financing, who gives opinion, who orders decisions of what goes at ground zero. But before any other talk is given, all those who are in prison may equal part and parcel of the negotiation. And what the preliminary negotiation had maybe was to receive an opinion. Why not see if the people, the individuals whom have been, I mean, some of us condemned the illegal and the illegal arrests they were taken from the in Nigeria or Abuja, and they are only internationally condemned. And the Nigerian court has given a ruling that the government of Nigeria has used a fabulous amount of money for such illegal abduction. These are clear. Those in prison, I insist, have presently to give any sanctions. I believe the Senate team, and with what you people call the government is aware of the war draft, is equally panic, and that a lot of finances raised within these quarters may create a more tension in the days ahead. And preliminary talks will be necessary to everybody.
What you are saying there is the government of La République du Cameroon is certainly very, very worried, very, very concerned about the amount of money that the restoration movement is raising. That's what you are hearing from ground zero.
It has been that. Even the government is aware about it. And there have been a lot of pressure again from the French. And remember, within the French government, they had the money, about 50 billion francs CFA by the French government for reconstruction. Because the United Nations, again, believe in the security meeting, many countries are already endorsed. Cameroon, south, the conflict in the northwest and the southwest placed on there. And the government is afraid. It has to ban France, who is government in Cameroon, has not taken upon himself to see how the problem should be resolved. That is why you see the continuous French ambassador in Cameroon, whom others consider that the government in Cameroon is simply a region, and the president has been chosen as governor of Cameroon, and he is being given his accountability. The French ambassador, who is the representative of government in Cameroon. What we are doing is the French government equally has a hand and a result and a report to principle of United Nations them that they are making efforts. Donald Trump has accused insistently of not being able to solving conflict in his colonial country. And of it, which is Cameroon, if there is a need for any Security Council, France will need to print a clean and clear report of supportive within these 40 billion francs promised by the French government will just be part of French Cameroonians payers money that has been walloped and been hostage as even foreign reserves or whatsoever to help the trailing economy after the crisis in the Northwest and again the more disastrous COVID-19.
If I may follow up on that point that you are making, the connection to the French, do you think the French are the ones telling La République du Cameroon, do not sign on to any United Nations ceasefire? Because as you know, the United Nations Security Council has declared a ceasefire for all warring parties across the globe. And La République du Cameroon is one country that has not signed that appeal, yet it is a country trying to call for a ceasefire but from prisoners. They have not as much as endorsed the international ceasefire appeal. Do you think the French are behind that?
It is not like maybe I will tell you that the top military officials and the advisors in the French, it is not said, it is not without any reasonable understanding that the French government has a lot of influence in Cameroon and maybe opinion for Cameroon. Remember, before the opinion of where and there was a need for the head of state to go and present a report to the Cour des Chambres d'Élysée or the Paris presidential house, and that is after then that the of Grand National Dialogue, which to give you an idea that the Grand National Dialogue was still a manipulated opinion of the French and on the nation. Remember again the release of Moïse Kamto and his group was still done. The same French, a call from the French president, Cameroonian president, remember of Calibro, statement declared the agricultural symposium in France. Emmanuel Macron still for this particular investigation in the Gabo and the Chabo massacre, and we saw it coming a week after the French call came in. France still in.
That was basically a cover-up, correct? Cameroon. It was basically a cover-up to save face. It wasn't like they were serious, because since their investigation, what have we heard? We learned that they went to court. We don't even know what happened in court. So it was a sham.
It is, and we equally consider that the Cameroonian government has been playing more with the political opinion and the entire community that they are doing seriously proposing actions, and that the separatists are not equally concessions, that they have made a lot of progress, there are a lot of commissions, they have carried investigations, and a lot of that. It is not the first time. We are not talking of the Ngabu massacre. Remember, you are a Cameroonian, and you can equal the Legionnaires disaster. We don't talking disaster in Sanfula, in Yaoundé. We are talking of the Ezeka train incident. A lot of Kenyans still remain in a very pitiful. They cannot. I mean, commissions, as we have said in Cameroon, have never helped. Inquiries have never produced any results and have never problem in Cameroon. Most often than not, such commissions are created one national community, a leverage, a launch that of the Cameroonian government's nation towards international partners within and financing opinion of the Cameroonian political atmosphere.
Let us get back to the ceasefire subject. Do you think, I mean, what in your opinion, now let me put it this way. Do you think Ground Zero would accept a ceasefire that is reached between detainees or prisoners and La République du Cameroon, as we had with Iko, Sisiko, and the others? Would Ground Zero accept anything? That is assuming they were to arrive a deal. Do you see Ground Zero accepting it as a settlement?
When you talk of, I still remember with the issue of call the partner or the actors involved. When you talk of the Ground Zero accepting, those who are of the unionists will tell you that they are okay. Those who are federalists will tell you that there's time. Yeah, propaganda been made here, and we have seen that several opinions.
I think I'm actually referring to the overwhelming majority whom you refer to as supporting independence.
Yeah, exactly. That is what I'm saying, that they will equally tell you that those who support independent or the restoration forces, which maintain military opinion on the ground, will never and will not give in until there is a sincerity for those who control the forces presently on the ground. There is sincerity, from what I mean, the interim government to give an opinion, or those who control the same forces on the ground give a ruling. President not done, within my modest opinion, nobody, including foreign partners, that those who are in prison still maintain us to call for a ceasefire. They may be part and parcel of it, but not the opinion or the final decision maker particular ceasefire.
All right, thank you. That makes a lot of sense. Now, we have absolutely no problem with the 4 points advanced by Sisiko. But we have said
Correct.
It is absolutely out of place for those 4 points to be deliberated upon in Yaoundé between the restorationists and French Cameroon or La République du Cameroon. The reason being that you will never, I mean, you know what I'm talking about here. You will never trust any agreement that is reached between La République du Cameroon in that country, because you are a living witness to how many resolutions. You just mentioned the so-called Grand National Dialogue and their resolutions. Nothing has happened. We remember the tripartite in 1991. What happened to it with all the good recommendations? Nothing happened. At the beginning of this conflict, they said they were creating a Supreme Court, an Anglo-Saxon Supreme Court in Yaoundé for the English-speaking population. Of course, we don't know what happened to that. So on and so forth. Anything that you agree with La République du Cameroon within that territory will die the moment you walk away from that table. So we are saying, yes, there is nothing wrong in what Sisiko demanded for. But to sit in Yaoundé or anywhere in La République to talk about it, to discuss it, is absolutely out of table. Now, we want to sit with La République du Cameroon in front of international mediators with guarantors to discuss even those same 4 points. Do you see anything wrong in that?
As an opinion and equally a participant in this, I believe, Chris, you will believe with me that at times the minds is what we call in dialogue and negotiation. When sincerity doesn't count, sincerity negotiation can equally undermine even at the level of the international politics. I mean, we can still decide to take negotiation or dialogue, and that the history and what we are struggling today, the fly propaganda or the agenda was drafted by the United Nations, and the United Nations was aware, and that South Road cannot be independent by even or 2 weeks or a month before French Cameroon. The United Nations was aware that the independence of Southern Cameroon before it being combined or reunified with French mean give him the authenticity, and that the act those who control Southern Cameroon might have had their through the document certificate of independence of that nation, and so equally be and only be independent with La République precondition. And France went ahead to manipulate, and the English themselves, they were not even present. I mean, the British people were not even present and have never even cared about that of the territory. Do you imagine that what we are suffering today was a whole that has been drafted, that this is the way forward? We are going to manage this region. We are going to cover up and we'll downgrade the second star, and that will change the country, bring back the parliament women. All those steps were taken to give you there was an agenda drafted. With the same international community, a lot will be done. Well, the question I ask most often than not is the sincerity of opinion of international actors. And one thing I have told any others, I will tell you that the international community and politics is a game of interest. And a lot of these people would like their interest first to count. It took then just a week and 2 weeks or more to assassinate Gaddafi, but you can't accept with me that it is 4 years with more deaths. The international community is mute and keep on the nation making propaganda and declaratory statement of that very count. One thing, dialogue is not where it takes place. The sincerity and transparency opinion is what we consider, and that is why those of us who are here talking and do that one of the points levied by Sisiku and Co. was that amnesty for all, and that those who are in the diaspora come to Yaoundé and talk presence of other international actors. Why not? With the sole guarantee. It is
well, again, coming to Yaoundé to talk in the presence of other international actors, again, is a no-go area for us, because you cannot say to me that Yaoundé can guarantee my security flying into that country. I will not try that. I will never try that. If French Cameroon is genuine for a ceasefire talks, for negotiations talk, it doesn't hurt them. They have spent millions, if not billions already in prosecuting this war. It takes them only about maybe $20,000 to sponsor their delegation to meet with us in Switzerland. We sit on the table and see how to begin this thing. That way, I am sure of my security. They are sure of theirs. What is wrong with that? Why must we come to Yaoundé?
Yeah, I want that very sincerely. Chris, you can imagine with me that they were forcefully ejected out of the continental Geneva. And I will tell you that since of Switzerland, after that, I'm telling you that the Swiss government has become the secretary for the Cameroon government to make any sincere talk in and concern in Cameroon. It was an opinion before that incident. And they believe that be another ground away from Geneva, the interest, because their president was fully taken out of and asked to get Yaoundé. He has believed security all this while. So the Cameroon government has declared as one of those who receive a lot of work. You cannot send a foreign author of state out his lodge apartment and then again call for a dialogue with him on your affair. That is equally, we equally imagine, it will mean from the president mandate that the Swiss government is not serious about anything talking to them. Respect was too much. The internal humiliation on the president of the Republic of Cameroon was equally enormous, and they have been having very cold feet. I mean, as you don't accept again with your security, which we are not doubting. I have said that there must be a compromise. Remember when Nelson Mandela was in prison before he was released, and his exchange of political prisoner prostitution, Nelson Mandela was talking with the government in York, and they decided later to agree that he should talk to the government, and concession was made. We know equally that at the same time, the NC government altogether was living in Zambia. Lagos have never ended talking to ANC leader in Zambia and talking to Nelson Mandela, right, Africa. Compromise was made, concessions were given out, and one of it, which I believe as an international actor should know, is that Mandela accepted not give or seize the whites' land. That particular process is what brought down the spirit, and many others who believe in this particularly were to agree. Yes, only free beings can negotiate, and that there is a need for a separate, neutral, in all successful international dialogue. What has been Makosi Accord that was signed in Burkina Faso, and today the same Makosi Accord that was signed in Burkina Faso, which and the full president, how can I put it, the former Hungarian president all agreed to, was telling you that that particular Black Godet team and Laurent Gbagbo simply signed the Makosi Accord, and that's of their same and the very rich regime. That is what I will insist, that we negotiate and who we negotiate to might not be an opinion, but then I still say your security and those in the diaspora too is one of utmost importance. What of those who have been in prison, 9 of them for all this period? Yes, they are in prison, and I believe the international community should. That's what we're saying. Why not being escorted by any of the international organizations, which you people believe that can guarantee your security? FBI has a lot of action. The United States has an interest. The United can power, and we have been seeing several of those negotiations. A lot of negotiations are made. We not counsel. Me, you, and many have said talking to might not be right. Talking to the right people and others may be right. The question what we ask, where to be, who will push that? Think is that the head of still have most pen. The same pen he used short paper at the Simalen airport to declare the war. The same pen to sign for the creation of the Disarmament Commission, the Bilingualism Commission. The same pen equally used to decide that dialogue can take place in any other country, since there is a need for peace. There is a need for peace in Cameroon. Everybody had believed that, but how will that come without the people involved? There have been the belligerent, the forces that control the disorder, the conflict ground, included. Remember, they dissolved the consortium of Anglophone teachers and lawyers. The situation, the situation has not changed. Several commissions created, meaning something is lacking. It might be the natural ground neutral you are proposing. We try that. Can we give all and talk to all Cameroonians? It is out. It is the wish of the international community that you now that strongly the French opinions.
Well, a ceasefire, one of the points we have advanced concerning the ceasefire is the fact, as you have stated, Mr. Paul Biya stood at the Simalen airport and declared war, then moved his army to the southern Cameroons, and almost every town, I would say every local government in Ambazonia now has a military camp belonging to La République du Cameroun. And La République du Cameroun is talking of a ceasefire. We have stated that We did not declare war. We did not, Ambazonia did not declare war. Ambazonia has not fought across the Mongo or Matazam. Ambazonia has not attacked French Cameroon soldiers. A ceasefire is an easy thing for La République du Cameroon to do. It wouldn't even take them going to Switzerland. It wouldn't take them going to any other place. It just takes them signing a decree, because, I mean, you understand, everything in that country is by decree, by decree. It takes Mr. Biya signing another decree, asking his soldiers to pull out of Ambazonia, and Ambazonian restoration forces, we have no one to fight against. Isn't that as simple? Shouldn't you guys on the ground zero be advocating this?
Yeah, I believe we are first time. Again, that at the beginning crisis said a lot of things. One of the preconditions is what led to the release of a lot of other. Actually, time to see what the other party is doing. Yes, you might declare war in case of conflict. In case of conflict, even between, there is always fight that declare the war. But then, when it comes to peace deals to be signed, we need of either party, and you were one that declares the war. We equally sincerely believe that the preliminary talks were to lay a foundation for some sincere talk in the days ahead, which you can count with me that we are not just going to accept issues with easy mind, because we need to be given the government too after withdrawing from the zones. I have several times that there is no military within your own territory. The military was made right out of the nation and order. When we find the military within the same nation fighting its own very people, many opinion leaders, including government authorities, a lot of them accepted that it was an error. But now, you know, there is what we call the war marketing scheme that many already consider which amount of money they benefit without. There is no need for the war. There is need in your fighting. They will tell you that the report received or I always give an impression with declaration by members of government who make huge amount of money by giving fake reports to the state that they will win, then they will win, and that peace will return. Which is getting to 4 years now. The war has not ended, the fighting has not ended. That is why even the international community and Guterres and his government said the time should, and that is a ceasefire. At times, we have seen equally unilateral ceasefire in moments throughout the world. We equally seen a mutual ceasefire within and everybody. It should be like a step that he took the decision to take order to call off the war, then the other parties too can never consider. Because it would be very impossible when two parties are fighting, you ask another to drop his weapon while you are still holding your own weapon and not maintaining the same position you are standing. It makes
in this case, I think there is a little difference there, because again, our boys have not moved. Since this war began, they have not moved, and it is French Cameroon, it is their troops that have moved. So if French Cameroon were to lay down their arms and pull down their arms and walk away, our boys, just where they are seated, they lay down their arms and go about their daily lives. Don't you think so?
Yeah, that is what I said. At times, ceasefires are made as a unilateral decision. At times, to give chance for peace. We have seen that places. And in all times, it needs a mutual understanding of forces on the ground to act. The person that moves in needs to take back his original purpose. And the person that has not moved needs to get his weapon. That is exactly what I just proposed. And everybody is agreeing that you cannot, at the same time, we are negotiating with Siku and Co. You can imagine the same during this period. Others are being killed.
Correct.
A lot
right.
of souls are being slaughtered. Again, can we be talking of the same time to give instruction to call people to even depose? And in fact, when people give up truce and other ceasefire, which is temporal and again. So
but I'm sure, of course, you guys on ground zero are not so naive to think that French Cameroon really wants a ceasefire. They actually want to go about their reconstruction, knowing that the moment there is any form of ceasefire, people enjoy a certain level of peace for maybe 3 months, 6 months. They don't want to go back fighting again or living the old life. So a lot of people to Cameroon cause of the war and start reconstruction, and the fighters get tired and want to walk away. Isn't this what they are looking for? I guess you guys on ground zero, you know this.
Yeah, it is not like knowing. You should know very well that all government have been proposing is just an intention to quell tempers. And again, like I said, they are looking for methods of peace, meaning to restore peace in the two regions. And it can take them to win souls and win others that will come down, drop bombs. The recent report given indicated that over 48 fighters, both of Boko Haram and in the secessionist movement, have dropped their weapons and have joined the disarmament commission or centers. And will mean the government will say that the rest has been made, meaning this project will work. We even have if there's going to be any reconstruction, because I'm telling you, a lot of things have happened where we are. Promises have been made to government. Aviaries have never been constructed. Centers to rehabilitate others constructed. It might happen as a propaganda to quell down, and why not? As I said, to launder the image of abroad, to still prove that, look at, we have given them a construction agenda and they are not still okay. Don't you think they don't even need the people? Do you think they are not even for a ceasefire? Do we need nations in a town or in a region? We need to see projects and not movement. Project. The minister was in that, he appreciated things. A lot of other dignitaries have visited the area. The Minister of Defense have visited this armament commission and what we are going to do. If the government is believing in what we wish to do, I believe if you need to build castles, if you need to build the stadiums and then move ahead and install the infrastructure. See, and give the sincerity that you are about doing it. Are we aware? Are we short particular agenda? Many are still doubting. The message is so decorative, enticing, and attractive that there is sincerity in the opinion. I will tell you that the Catherine incident, the monument that was promised, is getting to 3 years, has been done on that point. How will we believe that in the whole of the Northwest and the Southwest and the number of schools constructed, we need to take some commissions, attendance to propaganda before reconstruction takes place? We need a project that's on the ground, rather as a marketing strategy or a marketing to call for intentions or to weaken the minds of those who are in the region. To what extent?
Dr. John, it's rather unfortunate. I wish we had a better connection. The audio is not good at all. It's kind of getting a little difficult to get you through. But I guess the audience is still hanging in there. I guess they can understand you. But let us talk about a little bit about this reconstruction thing that we are talking about. How do you even think reconstruction without looking for an enduring settlement to the conflict? This is the way we look at reconstruction. In our view, reconstruction and what is going to be reconstructed should come out of the table of negotiations. Because normally you have to go about, send people to go about, take statistics, take data of whose house was burned, which school was burned or destroyed, and so on and so forth. How many people need homes, and so on. They need to do this. This has not even been started. And they are talking about reconstruction. And unfortunately, the UNDP is part of this. Is this the kind of reconstruction that you're talking about?
Yeah, Chris, you have data than I do equally. I will accept with your opinion and the worries you have raised. It's not yours alone, but the Cameroonian public, I believe very strongly, has not seen reconstruction without how do you construct. Remember when we asked of the road between Babajo and Santa, the government has given reasons that that road was under construction and that construction company could not continue without bringing for peace, and that in it they have a lot they cannot do without peace returning in Babajo Santa Road. How are they then going to construct the whole of southern Cameroon, which is under tension, under an armed conflict? Minister Tassong responded in his opinion that development efforts will go to regions calm and quiet before progressing to areas of war as a strategy to the worry of the people, which means it was going to take another 10 years, maybe, to reconstruct. And is this really the effectiveness of the Reconstruction Commission? So reasons will equally be given. The project cannot be taken out because the armed conflict is still continuing. If we accept on that, and this is a difficulty and this is an obstacle, why then take the second step before the first? So there will be a need for sincere, we have said it several times, there will be a need for sincere dialogue and inclusive that all sisters are called upon first, and then the project of reconstruction. Remember, the Reconstruction Commission in South Africa did not come in of war. It came in when South Africa agreements were made and concessions were given, and when peace has returned, that is when we have the Truth and Reconciliation Commission in South Africa. Can my own country equally honor its international to first of all take dialogue as an opportunity, give peace a chance? He says that sincere dialogue is what it is not my opinion. Everybody shared opinion. We cannot be going for reconstruction without we can construct minds and involvement of one and any actor in the domain if only all the actors are okay for that particular action. And workers can equally go to work without fear that a peace deal has been reached and that reconstruction effort will be a part of compensation for those who have lost their houses, bridges, schools, colleges, or whatsoever markets. This can be done, but not in an armed war. We cannot be constructing. Remember, I told others, before we set up the Bakassi Development Commission, it never came when Nigeria was holding parts of Bakassi land. It came in when the Green Tree Agreement was reached between President Paul Biya and President Obasanjo of Nigeria. Why can't Cameroonians equally learn this lesson that for any government effort to region, there is a peace deal that signed and appease the people of this area, because it will be very bad for us to see the same people that killed a member of the family in development efforts in the region, not just throwing water on a deck's back, and that will come back to the same point we're between now and before. Remember, a lot of actions that I've always called them perishable or futile solutions never created or generated any impact. This is bad. Dialogue is what everyone is. Amnesty to all involved in the crisis is what we call. Why then do you take some assassinated, kill disarmament commission and keep those who make simply propaganda without arm? I mean, by words of mouth, you consider them more dangerous than those who have skipped down or dropped their weapons to come in disarmament commission and you forgive theirs. Is it not a fallacy?
All right. All
in an
right.
effort.
Again, unfortunately, the audio quality is really bad, but
Okay.
I think we're managing it through to the end. Let me ask you, Dr. John. We've seen other countries in the same struggle like ours, like Eritrea, like the Sudanese, Southern Sudanese. They went in for 20 years, 30 years. We've only seen 4 years and counting. Do you see, if this war is not over in the next year, in the next 3, 4 years, from your observance on ground zero, do you see ground zero persevering to stand the heat? When I say ground zero, of course, I'm talking about the overwhelming majority that wants nothing but a free and independent Amazonia. Do you see them standing the heat for the next 5, 10 years? Should this conflict extend this far?
Yeah, what I'm telling you here presently is that in of the world, you just cited Eritrea and Sudan. Remember, a real peace deal was arrived at between Eritrea just some years back with the present Prime Minister, and which means it is ready. But then, tempers will be rising, others will be falling, errors will be made, and pains will be generated. Some people will not have the mind to give others, and which means the situation may get worse. The days goes ahead, the land deserted. I'm telling you, if we send you photographs of some of the biggest villages we had before 2016, and what has become of those villages in this area, the villages have been deserted and completely been turned into forests, where hunters now go to practice their problem. Which gives an indication that as the years goes ahead, that is how the population will keep on living the zones. And we remember that as the population leaves the zones, many others have become internally displaced and going and getting education abroad. This will mean that the call that you had may get back, but it is not what we wish. It is not what we pray. That is why we that a sincere and timely peace is what we are seeking, and that should get into a seat. If this government was sincere, the first step I tested the sincerity of the Cameroon was for the Oil and Phone Conference, where Southern Cameroonians could come together and talk as a common person. Right up to now, the government has been unable to give a positive move. Why? Because there is a need for disunity. And you remember the disunity on the ground, a lot of forces fighting one another, killing and assassinations, stealing or looting in one part of the country or another. And again, it's on opposing opinion. These are the consequences as on dragging. The consequences will be more durable. Remember, there have been an increase in the price of basic commodities in the other part of the Mongo, and fingers have been pointed. Farmers are unable to work their farms in the northwest and the southwest region. Are we sure? Remember, my brother, you need to come and see what has become of the citizens. The government, individuals are having the hit. The groups that are involved in the just mentioned some being sponsored by some state authorities, and what we consider was a part play the vigilante group in the Gabu massacre, which means a lot will keep on being committed, and people's minds will be wounded and deeper. And that is how separation of peace initiative will instead be collapsed. This is not where we started. This is where we are today. If the nights keep on enduring, and I think the worst is still to come, but that is not what we pray for.
All right, thank you. Quick question. When you guys come out and speak frankly as you do, be it whether Ground Zero or to the diaspora channels like this one, do you fear for your lives?
My brother, than I do, that we live within a system where all is possible. But then I say always believe that sincerity is what we need to share. Sincerity, you are where you are, and you can imagine the work of the CNN. I have not seen the Republican Party under Donald Trump taking any of the CNN journalists to court or being slapped on the road or send military to harass them as we do here. We pray for a sincere and more liberal nation like you find in many other parts of the world. Remember, Ghana 20 years is no longer the same Ghana today. It might be a time for us to correct the errors of the past, and it might be the time for us to learn lessons. And a lot of those lessons, most often than not, don't come as a gift. They always come as a struggle, and this is one of the struggles which we have to do. Somewhere, remember a Diami Dada of Uganda said, freedom of speech I know, freedom after speech is what we don't know. This is the same uncertainty where we live.
So when you go out, when you come out in an outing like this and say the things that you say, do you go back home wondering, they could come and pick me tonight?
It is. That is exactly what you are saying is not true, but it was that mind. As a teacher, I have to educate, and we are educating. The sincerity is frank. It's what knowledge is. There is no need you give wrong knowledge to students and practice something else. Remember in the days of Patrice Lumumba, he said, I am talking to the Belgians, and that the education you gave to me, I seen you apply in the Congo. Allow me to practice the education you taught me. You cannot teach an individual something else and then practice another thing. What controversy? Jesus did not teach his disciples to do what he is saying and not what he is doing. So if you need to be a disciple, an apostle, or a follower of Christ, do as ordained. It is the nation. That is the honesty in education. We are training people to lead a nation, not to lead an individual. The nation will pass. In fact, we as individuals will pass, but the nation will remain. What information have we given? What legacy do we leave as individuals? I'm not, and we will not be sincere that we need a frank to give better reports to the president. If reports were given, results to the head of state were giving sincere information, this wouldn't have the continuous dialogue of what we call the Anglophone Consortium and the teachers' movement would have issue no matter how long it was taking us. We were so make dialogue a permanent institution of governance. We don't need to get into magic to know that in many nations, remember the red or the yellow shirt revolution or movement in France, government has assassinated anybody. On daily basis, the French government is in quest and in search of a sincere solution to answers or the questions demanded by the workers. To increase age or increase public civil servant pension, the government is seeking.
All right.
Why can't we have the same mind here?
All right, thank you. I would like you to take a look at this conversation you had at Equinox Television. I think this was 2019. Take a listen, please.
Really, death is not what we wish, but death is a certainty. And again, death is a wage for our existence on earth. And that the mayor, Ekema Patrick, was once saluted by the state and the government for his fierce support, and as you proudly put it in your report, that he was an anti-ghost town crusader. It is totally controversial that the mayor at this time, when he existed, was voted by his people, again was taught by many as that who turned his back against his own very people. But then many other political opponents of Patrick Ekema might have been waiting for it.
All right, Ekema was voted, voted by the people, cheered by the government. Then he turned his back against the people, I think your camera has flipped there.
Yes.
He turned his back against his people. We have today, another Ekema, essentially in Boya. Do you see him, as most of us do? Do you see him going the direction of Patrick Ekema?
Yeah, remember they have just taken office, and I will tell you that politicians have a lot of way to let, their leaders know that they are on duty. he has a need, maybe to launder his own image within the political rank. Ekema did as a Ekema, and within my last statement, I have been trying to image what Ekema did to render him popular within his people. I don't understand. You might be emulating anyone whose record was doubtful, whose performance was questionable of yourself and what you are doing, us whether it is right, and stop emulating the examples. I have learned to maintain intent that which I know. If you are voted by the people, will you do what we have just seen in Limbe by destroying basic, no, sort of like the SDF chairman at the Limbe Council equally refuted the information that destruction to a common man, business by the roadside, to what extent do you render them hopeless? Are you doing so for the name of the people? I mean, politics is a game for the people, and by the people, those who elected you. If we take it back to the history of the Athenian democracy, we need an average opinion of each and every person before we take decisions against those people. The moment you stand against your own people, it was a moral conscience of these people that gave you the mandate. If today you can be against them, that it means somewhere you were not voted by them. You might have been appointed by the power of the prince. And this gives all the idea that within the party, all those who represent them wherever they are, there were no primaries that took place within the Northwest and the Southwest region, and that they were just elected, appointed by the CPDM elites and their class to represent those constituencies. So they know very well that any appreciation will not be from the people. Their promotion or demotion will not mean anything to any local person except by the government. So they carry out the wish of the government. The ghost town issue or kids that were held several times throughout the Northwest and the Southwest have always been a problem. And many others use it as a propaganda to send a message to the government nowadays that they are doing enormously. Can't you stand on your own feet rather than wearing the shoes of another person? I have graved the indulgences of Cameroonians. Ask what you have done, not what another person did. Stop pirating policies. Stop pirating identity. Your job is not my job. I have a duty to do what I'm supposed to do as an individual, and what keeps me intact is my moral consciousness. Is it right? What I am particularly passing as information, is it correct? There is fear of the unknown, and I believe we must think of why we live, what legacy you have behind. There is a need for the mayor of Boya, if time comes and if I'm given the opportunity to address the situation, I believe his advisors at the level of the council should tell him that we need to approach this otherwise. It would have been better for him to take a dialogue with the same people concerned before a decision is made. We are still thinking that ahead, it might come back to his senses because Boya, Limbe, and Tiko might be creating havoc within their own people. And the environment where we live, we need to be very careful. We don't know who we have and who we have against us. So please, these are things which I said, and I will not say, those who voted me, am I serving them? Is this the way I should serve them? What legacy do I leave behind? I told you some time ago, if you watch some of the interview, when we applauded to the effort of Belamoki Chanli, the senator, whom for his time as a mayor of that town, did not know any strike. He could handle the university student, why not even the teachers as a mayor? Belamoki did a lot of jobs within that town, and to only realize that such legacy was just destroyed by his successor. So maybe this other one is ready to work on the same food, on the same footing like Patrice Ekema did. We just need to and see the next decisions he's going to take.
I'm sorry. So what I'm trying to say is, if they think that if these mayor and the colonial DOs in Fako think that they are invincible, if they think they are protected, they should remember that was what Patrick Ekema taught. He had a battalion of soldiers sleeping in his compound moving with him to everyone, even into the presence of his girlfriends' homes and to every hotel he traveled to. But he still ended up paying with his own life for this. Now, let me take you to another subject here. You heard me talk about the so-called BLM elite and the BLM chiefs. It's something that can easily be applied to almost all the elite in all of the country called Cameroon and southern Cameroons or Ambazonia. Was I wrong to say the age of elitism is over? In this part of in Ambazonia. Was I wrong?
Yeah, you might be saying that the age of elitism is over. A lot of those elites too, where the documents are signed, you need to know the environment where the documents are signed. You ask whether they themselves were in the BLM or they were found in Boya or they were in Yaoundé. And where the meeting took place is where I am still to verify. A lot of those decisions at times were made after serious conscience enticement, meaning a lot of promises and cadeaux or what you may have as gifts were made to these particular people called upon, and that he who doesn't sign will have his chieftaincy dethroned. A lot of that we have seen around. So the circumstances too may be doubting, and they will come back to tell you that I was asked to sign, and so who am I to refuse? So we know very well that the chiefs are the custodians of the laws of the people.
And don't be surprised, some may even say that they didn't know their names were included. They were not consulted,
so
right?
It is not new. It is not new. When you go to the parliamentary sessions in Yaoundé, others vote for others. Others, but their names they appear as voters. So we are used to this type of ball game, and it will be exactly the same. And that is what has been going around. We might not just consider the list equally as authentic, because a lot of names that are found, as I saw.
Well, when we consider, hold on there, Barrister, we have every reason to consider them as authentic until the individuals in that list begin to step out to say, I was never consulted, I didn't sign it, I wasn't there. Until then, we will consider it authentic.
Yeah, that is what you just said with me, that it was today or so. We expect that in the next 1 week or 2 weeks or 1 month, seeing people dissociating or distancing themselves from such a list. It has happened several times. It will not be strange. So it's what I'm saying. Others will tell you that they took their small envelope to sign. And so any individual after a promise has been made, we just know that in law, there is that concept of consensus at idem, that the minds of the parties should be at ease. How can you sign a contract when a promise was made? You made an agreement for an exchange of a promise in financial terms. Is it not still what we call corruption? Is it not still issues that are punished by positive Cameroonian law? If that is the case, we said it is something to regret. An elite in name of a chief or a fund has, first of all, to rule and people with sincerity and with that concept morals, which I have used. Some people will tell you that morals don't count in politics, but I believe very sincerely that the office of the president, the office of whosoever as the chief, has to call with the morality and integrity of an individual. If this is not what we are doing, then we have become hungry and we are ready to eat from any pot once food is brought in front of us, not knowing the source or what the context it has to do with our own lives. A lot have done so. People have taken what doesn't belong to them and the consequences and only notice after. So every decision too, remember that takes a personal decision in an action or a word, also knows what awaits him at the end. We are here as I can call the civil society, and our opinion is to educate and give a ruling on what we think. But our opinion will still remain subjective. It's not an objective or a popular opinion, because we are not going into vote before coming here to talk what we are talking. Chiefs are supposed to protect the interests of the people. Rule is supposed to be apolitical, distant away from the forces of politics, and then rule its people as one. When we take side with the other and we reject the other, are we still doing so in the name of the people that we represent?
That is a very, very good question out there, Dr. John. I hope that the chiefs in Ambazonia listen to you and answer that question within their constituencies. It was a pleasure having you. I really want to hope that next time we will have a better connection so that we can enjoy this the more. Thank you very much for showing up. I look forward to inviting you again and having you here on ABC, sir. Before you go, tell me what you think of ABC on Ground Zero.
Yeah, you remember when all this started, there have been a mixed feeling, and that the ABC and the SCBC TV has created a lot of panic. A lot of people who own this channel were equally punished because the propaganda message. But what I think is an opinion. No matter the basket, you have the right to accept or to reject the information you receive from whatsoever news channel, and destroying the dishes or satellite people on their roof has not stopped people from watching it on their phones. This is the failure of solutions that were taken, forgetting that today televisions are not only broadcasted on cable, they are equally on wireless network. How do we then manage such a situation? It is time for us. Information has come to remain, and that information remains one of the forces of a positive nation. Any country that encourages information then encourages the development of that particular nation. The more advanced economies equally count information communication as one of the arms of the state.
Thank you. Thank you. When they shut down the internet, they thought they dealt with us. Unfortunately, they didn't know we were coming with television. Now they can shut down, they can go to space and shut down the satellite. Let me just make an announcement to them. We are coming with radio too. We are coming to plan a satellite radio. A satellite radio on Ground Zero. It is coming, and I don't know what they're going to do. So, but again, Dr. John, it was a pleasure to have you. Please, you have remain safe over there with your family. I hope that you will not be chased out or forced out as Mr. John Nsofru was chased out. Thank you so very much, please.
The pleasure is mine.
Thank you. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, that was Barrister John Ako coming to us all the way from Ground Zero. Unfortunately, again, the audio quality wasn't the best. Of course, you all understand the state of internet over there, the bandwidth that they are dealing with over there, but at least I think we grabbed something with his presence here. Bo Herbert was supposed to be with me to talk about Boyo and the late Honorable Augustine Ngamjua. Bo Herbert has not been able to join. Maybe he's held down somewhere. But this is what I will do, hoping that he joins. I will open the phone lines, take a few calls, and by the bottom of the hour, if he doesn't show up, we'll call it a day. So I will ask you, I will open the phone lines. Please, before you call, make sure that you turn down the volume of your television set. Before you call, make sure you turn down the volume of your television set or your computer if you are watching from your computer. Before you call, turn down the volume. The phone lines are open. For those of you who know the phone number, please go ahead and call and give me your opinion on the performance of Dr. John Ako. All right. Again, the phone lines are open, ladies and gentlemen. Why I look for tune from Bo Herbert to join the broadcast if he can. The phone lines are open. All right, I will get the first caller at this moment. Hello, sir.
Hello, Secretary Chris.
Good evening, sir. May I know where you are calling from, please?
I'm calling from Switzerland, sir. It was a great show there with Barrister John. It was really an educative show. But my question goes to you, sir. Yesterday, with our Amazonian ladies, you talked of Sisiku being misled or misinformed when he was taken from Set to the Konange prison. I don't think that's the case, because if you remember very well, Deacon Tassa brought up some accusations against Milan of corruption. Sisiku, on his own, decided to put that under the rock. Now, that is not the type of president that we want in Amazonia. So it's not like he's behaving this bad because he's been misled or misinformed. No, it's his character. And I would like to know from you, sir, how was Siseko being appointed, because he was not elected? How did he come about being our president, sir? Please answer me. Thank you.
Thank you for the call. I don't know what to say. I wasn't there when whether you call it election or nomination or whatever took place. I wasn't part of the interim government. Remember, that was during Skarkov, when then transitioning to what do they call it? Cancer something. I wasn't there. But you may be right that he was not deceived. It was just a matter of character. Because, as you said, lots of allegations were made against Milan Atom. And they were just covered up. So it seems to have been something that was ingrained in him. And he took it into Konenge and got stuck with it up to today. Again, that's an opinion. You may be right, sir. Thank you for the call. All right, let me get to the next caller here. Okay. Hello, sir.
Hello, Secretary Chris.
Hello, UN. Good evening, sir.
Yes, I want to thank you and Dr. Ako for the program of today. I want to tell Dr. Ako that we are happy with what he presented today. And if I have a message to those who are on ground zero, like the elites and the chiefs, we are telling them that what we are fighting for is for the freedom of all Amazonians, including themselves. So for no reason should someone say that because of fear or whatsoever, they will be signing documents and threatening people. If you cannot come out openly to denounce injustice and genocide, you can just stay. Stay away from the media. Allow us, those who can fight, because we are fighting to free all Amazonians. Remember, when the Prime Minister went to Bamenda, one person in the audience said that even the Prime Minister and everybody in the high table, they are with us in spirit. So this is high time. If you cannot stand and denounce injustice, denounce the genocide, why can't you just stay quiet? Because we are going to free all of Amazonia. Thank God, a lot of people are beginning to understand that freedom can only come when you have the right to exercise your opinion without somebody chasing you, without somebody coming against you. Thank you people so much. I want Amazonia to continue to draft and draft and draft. Everybody, we need to draft. What we need is total and unconditional independence. Nothing to do again with La Republic. If you love La Republic, the borders are still free. It is time you relocate. You can even migrate to La Republic right now. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for the call, UN. Thank you. You said it right. We are fighting for justice, and if any Ambazonian elite or the BLM elite in particular do not like justice, stay where you are. Stay in Yaoundé. Remain in Douala. You're not being forced into this. And nobody has driven you from your palaces or from your homes. You left on your own volition, sirs. So, but if you don't like what we are doing, stay away from Ambazonia, remain in Yaoundé. I can assure you, your intimidations or threats will not by any means deter some of us from pursuing the cause that we are currently pursuing. We will fight till the last man standing. Let me assure the so-called chiefs and elites of the BLM, you are on the minority side, sirs. You are on the minority side. We shall see at the end of the day who stood for the people and who stood for their bellies. That's just what it is. All right, let me see who is on the line next. The lines are open, ladies and gentlemen. Okay. All right. Hello, sir.
Hello, Secretary Chris.
Yeah, hello, sir.
For the work you're doing.
Thank you, sir.
Hello?
May I know where you're calling from, please?
Yes. I'm calling from North Dakota.
Thank you. Thanks for the call. What is your contribution, sir?
Yes, my contribution is that I want to thank Dr. Ako, but I think that it is not fair for him to say negotiations can take place in Yaoundé. I don't think any fair negotiations can take place in Yaoundé because you are talking of two countries. So two countries that came together. One person cannot be pulling the string and saying they want to negotiate only in Yaoundé and we are accepting it. Why would they not go to a tech? These are two countries. So we shouldn't allow anybody to derail us with a third party or a neutral ground for the talks.
Thank you.
Does not have any mandate to discuss with us.
That
is what I want to tell Dr. Ako.
Thank you.
That they don't respect them. Yes. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. And that is the point that we are the interim government and of course the Ambazonia coalition team, that's the point they are making. There is no way we are going to sit in Yaoundé or agree to sit in Yaoundé or anywhere in French Cameroon in that matter, not even in Boya or Bamenda. We're not going to sit in any of those places to talk negotiations or ceasefire, whatever the case. It has to be in a neutral ground, Thank you for the call. Let me see who else is calling. Ground zero. All right. Hello.
Hello, good evening, Secretary Chris.
Good evening, sir. May I know where you are calling from, please?
I'm calling from Ground Zero.
Okay.
Northern Zone.
Northern Zone. All right. Good to hear from you, sir. You had electricity today?
Yeah, we have electricity today.
Wonderful.
Today.
All right.
Yeah, I want to thank you very much for the kind of panelists you are always bringing to us, and they are educating us very well. We are very happy with such a kind of personalities that you bring up.
Thank you.
In fact, I want to thank Dr. Ako for really giving us a very clear vision and a thought of a clean Southern Cameroon who is fearless of what may happen to him. If I was afraid that he will be saying that maybe today they will cut his head off, but when he talk about education, the mind, you go to school because you want to come out and educate other people about their rights. And people like him, I've watched him over over so many medias in Cameroon talk. That is the kind of elite that we think that we have to talk of, the so-called elite that are living in Yaoundé camp. They should talk for their own people. Don't hide their identity. Even if today Sissoko is in prison, he's saying that he's not a French. He is Southern Cameroons. Those are still some qualities that are still maintained there with him. So, and then Dr. John has proven it today. If today anything happened to happen with Dr. John, we know that it's the same kind of things that Joa and the rest were, and Mukong were talking, and then they were hated by the Republic. And this, I know that in the days ahead, so many Sarun Cameroonians who are afraid want to copy from our brother, Dr. John.
All right.
So thank him very much for me, pass my greetings to him and said, God is going to guide him. Let him not be afraid. We are praying for all of you out there.
All right. Thank you. Thank you. You guys remain safe, okay?
Yeah.
All right. Thank you for that call, sir. Let me take, I think this is, what country is this? Hello, sir.
Hello.
Can you lower your television set or computer set, please? The volume.
Yeah, good evening, Secretary Chris. I've done it.
Good evening, sir. How are we doing today? Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Italy, sir. I want to thank the interim government for all the wonderful things that I've done.
Please, there is some noise coming from your background, please.
Yeah. Council, and he joined us via. Yeah. I said I want to thank Dr. Ayaba. Good evening, and thank you for joining us on the show.
All right. Hello, sir.
Good evening.
Good evening, sir. May I know where you're calling from, please?
I'm calling from Baminda, Algeria.
Okay. Good to hear your voice, sir. What is your contribution?
I just have a question to ask Dr. John Akko.
Okay.
Now, I want to ask him, how does he assess the press on this our crisis? How does he assess the English press this our crisis? Because we have certain papers, maybe he can assess and tell us. Because let me just give 3 of the papers: the Post, Guardian Post, and one other paper like that. How does he assess as compared to the French-speaking papers in Cameroon? How can he assess that?
Thank you. Unfortunately, Dr. Akko is no longer on set, but that's a very good question. I wish I thought about it. But as far as the press, let me talk about the Ambazonian press. I'm talking about English newspapers and media houses in Ambazonia. As far as the print media is concerned, I think we have very few newspapers that has the courage to report the truth. And when you talk about genuine papers practicing journalism, I think you can only think of the Post and the Voice, which that other paper there, is it the Rambler? Yes, the Rambler is a good paper. I think these are the ones I can really think of that can step out and do real journalism. As far as the television houses are concerned, I have not seen any. The radios, I really don't know the radios on the ground, but the newspapers, I think there are only 3 newspapers that I can call that are doing pure journalism: the Post, the Voice, the Rambler. Thanks for the call, sir. All right, let's see who else is on the line here. Ground zero. Hello, sir. Hello. Hello. Hello, please, can you turn down the volume of your set, please?
Hello, Secretary. Good evening.
Good evening, sir. There is an echo in your background. Can you turn that down?
Yes, I think it's down now. I think the echo is down.
Yes, I can hear you now. Where are you calling from, please?
Okay. I'm calling from Medam County.
Okay, thanks for calling.
To LGA.
Okay, Baminda to LGA. What is your contribution, sir?
I just wish to
to appreciate you for the wonderful job you have been doing for the people of Southern Cameroon. You have sacrificed a lot. You are putting a lot for the struggle. We pray that God will bless you and give you more grace to continue in the spirit.
Thank you.
And I really want to appreciate Dr. Akojan for the wonderful risks, because I know it is risks with the situation in Cameroon, to come on TV, on ABC, to talk about the ongoing crisis. But I want to appreciate him so much for the wonderful job he is doing to educate the people of Southern Cameroon.
All right.
So let's keep up, and we pray that God bless us, and let's go through this crisis within the shortest possible time. Thank you very much, Secretary Chris.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for the call. I appreciate it. You guys remain safe on ground zero. All right. Who is next? Let's see who is next here. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I think we're going to call it a day today. Unfortunately, I guess Bo Herbert has not been able to join, the broadcast today. But I want to remind all of you, we're going to be having a very, very exciting broadcast on Monday. I shall be having some very, very exciting guests also. So mark your calendar. Mark your calendar for Monday. I shall be back here on Monday. God bless you all, and thanks for tuning in today. Good night.
Hello, Cape Town. Let's do it. Let's do it for Nigeria. Let's do it for the children. Every morning to please my people.
You need a financial instrument that provides a hedge against inflation, 100% guarantees that you will not lose your money, has tax-free growth and distribution, the ability to take an interest-free loan, avoids probate, provides creditor protection, guarantees your family that your income will be replaced should you die, helps you protect yourself financially against chronic, critical, and terminal illness, and of course allows you to take money anytime for any reason at any age without a tax penalty. You need only as little as $50 to invest per month. Contact Irene Fombo, tel 513-5014-177, or send an email to irenenpmsn@gmail.com. You need a financial instrument that provides a hedge against inflation, 100% guarantees that you will not lose your money, has tax-free growth and distribution, the ability to take an interest-free loan, avoids probate, provides creditor protection, guarantees your family that your income will be replaced should you die, helps you protect yourself financially against chronic, critical, and terminal illness, and of course allows you to take money anytime for any reason at any age without a tax penalty. You need only as little as $50 to invest per month. Contact Irene Fombo, tel 513-5014-177, or send an email to irenenpmsn@gmail.com.